Hey guys, in this video I'm going to show you how to fix your Sheets Genie automations when they stop working, which is pretty much always due to selector changes. So we're going to cover why automations stop working and how to fix them faster. Now the reason I am covering this in this video is because Debbie recently asked that she had tried to do this task that I had preset task that I had created, and it had worked a couple days ago, but then she just checked it today and it wasn't working. She wants to know why that is. So to show you what she's talking about and so you can understand what happened, she's talking about this task G that I had created. Before, when you ran this task, it would put in Facebook groups data like this. It would find groups on Facebook and it would add their name and the link and this. So it worked just fine just a few days ago, right? So today, let's go ahead and try that exact same automation. I haven't changed anything, and then see what happens. Okay, I have to authorize. 1 second, guys. So I'm going to run this really quick for you guys. And okay, there it goes. So here we go. Task G. Okay, so we're going to go to Facebook right now. We're going to look for a bunch of Facebook groups, and we're going to copy them to the sheet. So ideally we would want this and this info off of each one, but as you'll see, we're not getting all that data today. So let's go back to our sheet. We look here, and this is what Debbie was talking about. You see, last week it would give all the names and all the Facebook links, but now it's only giving the basic kind of info we set up, but not the group name or the link, only kind of whether it's public. So right now, the automation is not working. It's not getting the data we want. So the question is, why? Okay, why is it not working? So if you come back here to the control center, I'm going to show you something really quick. We're going to look at this Facebook group right here. This is the start page, and what we want is we want to get all this information that wasn't working before. Now, the quickest way that I know of to fix the situation right now is by documenting your work so that you can go back and fix it. So right now, I'm going to show you how I've created something in Sheets Genie Recipes to help walk you through this process. Right here, this explains to you that recipes, when they stop working, it's pretty much always due to CSS selectors. So that you want to kind of document what you've done with webscraper.io if you use that tool. So I've given you some help of how to do it, how you can maybe learn the skill and fix it on your own, and then share it with Facebook if you want to be super awesome. And so right now I'm going to show you the process of how this works so that it'll be easier for you to fix your automations if you run into issues like this. So right here, we're going to go to the Sheets Genie Recipes here on this tab. And I'm going to show you this new column I've set up. You see, this is the exact recipe that's not working anymore. It's in this recipes sheet. And what I've done is I've added this column right here, which is a webscraper.io recipe. If you don't know what this is, I'll walk you through it in just a second. But this is a recipe that was working at the time that this automation was created. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to copy this recipe from that day, and then we're going to go to our Facebook group. Again, it's this page which wasn't working, like all these things here, and we're going to see what's happening on this page through the lens of an IO recipe. Okay. A webscraper.io recipe. So for this to work, you have to have the webscraper.io extension installed. See, and you open it by doing inspect on Chrome to get to the dev tools, and when the extension is installed, you can find webscraper here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that recipe, which is it's actually a sitemap. I'm going to say import sitemap. I'm going to paste in that data that I got from the Google Sheet, that recipe. I'm going to give this a name. So I'm going to say Facebook find groups, and I'm going to put today's date just to be a little more clear about what's happening. All right. And I'm going to say import sitemap. And right away, this creates the sitemap right away. So right here, just so you know what this means, this is selecting multiple elements on the page. So question 1, are we even targeting these elements? Well, with webscraper.io, you can click Web Element Preview, and boom, you can see it's targeting multiple elements, which is good. And we kind of knew it was already working to that degree because it was collecting data like the public group or private group. It was telling you that. It just wasn't telling you what we really wanted to know the most, was the group name and the link to it, right? So we know step 1, the multiple selectors are working. That's great. So now we're going to dive into each of these elements and see what's happening. As you can see here, I have a group name, a group link, and the group info. So let's see what happens when we select first the group info that we know was working, right? We know it was working because when we did this, remember it found the group info, right? So what happens when we click on the group info, we click element preview, and boom. See, it shows you within this element, we are able to select this information. So great, that's working. But this is the data we weren't able to get. What happens when we click that? Well, we click element preview and no elements selected are found. So the question is, why is that? Well, the reason that is, like pretty much almost always, if not always, is that this selector isn't working. Now, I thought an H2 selector with the link, I thought this selector would work for a very long time. I mean, Facebook likes to change things up a lot, but I thought this was like a super solid selector. Turns out, though, if you want to inspect the elements on this page, like let's inspect this, and the dev tools, you see it says elements there. Well, you'll see here, first of all, now there's a div. There's no H2. If you try to look for an H2, you're not going to find that anymore. You're not going to find the H2 or the A relationship anymore. So that selector is just not working. So the problem really, what happened is that this H2A selector it doesn't work anymore, guys, okay? So we have to find a better selector. So the question is how do we get this kind of a selector? So if you dive right into this, again, this is what we want. I'm highlighting this. You can see it's highlighted there. So what we want is this group name here and the link. So one thing you can do is you want to target this link that contains groups in it. Like, I think this is a super solid way to go about it. So let's start doing that, right? So if you don't know anything about selectors, let me see. Sorry, guys. If you don't know anything about how to create recipes, how to use selectors in the documentation and examples of how to use Sheets Genie, I give kind of like a little tutorial, I guess, on how to use the CSS selectors, as well as webscraper.io. It also has a kind of a cheat sheet for jQuery selectors that I like to use a lot too, right? And in this case, remember, I had wanted to find those links that had groups in it. So here, an href attribute equal to this. No, we want something that contains, okay, so it contains the word blah, blah, blah. Okay, so this is the kind of selector that I want, all right? So I'm going to go ahead and copy this, and I'm going to show you how I use this with webscraper.io to test stuff and to find stuff on my own, all right? So we're going to go back here to our recipe. I'm going to add a new selector just for testing purposes. And let us call this, first of all, let's just put it in right here, right? So what we want is the A tags, right? Like the A tag is the link tag with the attribute of href, and we want it to contain groups, because remember when we looked at all the links for Facebook, it had groups in it. So now let's just do this for fun and say, what is the element? Look, 3. So this is good and bad. The good thing is it did find it, but the bad news is it didn't target it specifically enough. Facebook is actually putting this link on all these things, and we really just want it for this. So let's take another look at what's going on here. So what I can tell you is, because I've already looked at this to see how the links are different. Look, you see how the link contains facebook.com/groups, and we like that. So I'm going to do a Command F to search for groups, and I'm going to show you how you can kind of. So for this link with groups in it, it's that thing up there which we don't want. So let's go to the next one. We don't want that. There, okay, so why is it highlighting this one there? Well, this one, first of all, it has groups, but it also has this query parameter at the end of it, which, so maybe we could identify it off of that. But then there's also this clear attribute that says role equals link. There's an attribute here that says area label. So there's different things that we could find to target that and maybe differentiate it from the other ones. So let's go over here. And on here, this is the actual one we want. It has the exact link. It doesn't have any query parameters at the end. It has that attribute of role, and this one says presentation. So this is starting to look pretty good to me, okay? This is starting to look like a way to target it because it's a different way of identifying it than this one. And then let's go to this next one, which is that now. And if you see here, it has the attribute of role again, but this time it's link, which tells me right now we could probably target this by getting the attribute of role, which is presentation, for this link. So this would be the way to narrow it, to focus it again. So what I would do is I would come back here to my recipes sheet again, and I now want an attribute of role. I'm just going to copy this, guys. This is the easiest way that I know to do it. Actually, it's not only that it just contains the word, it's that it's actually equal to the word, right? So I'm going to actually do this one for fun, okay? Just to show you how you can do different ones. So I'm going to do that one. This other one would have worked too, I think. But I'm going to do this one. So we go over here, back to our web scraper. And again, this selector works, but it's not focused enough, right? So we are now going to try this one. The attribute was role. And the one that worked for us for the link we wanted was presentation. The other two had a role value of link, which we didn't like as much. So now I click select, and that's not working. Why is that not working? Role is equal to, all right. I'm going to pause this for a second. Hold on. Okay, guys, I'm back after that brief break. I don't know what happened. So anyway, when you click element preview here, remember we get these three links right there. So now when I thought I had done this before, like role equals presentation, maybe I had misspelled it before, I don't know. But I put this in again. And this time when I clicked it, it worked perfectly. Like it's targeting just this, which is kind of what I was hoping, or what I had expected would happen. So now this one actually is working. You can see it's just targeting that one. So now this is actually the kind of recipe that we want, okay? So what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to actually do the following. I'm going to copy this selector, and I'm going to cancel out of here. This is the recipe that we imported. I am going to now edit this recipe, and I'm going to put in that, which again, it'll work like that. And so I'm going to save that. So I'm basically just updating these selectors. So instead of H2A, which didn't work, I'm doing this, right? So I'm going to put in this one here for that. Okay. So now I have updated this recipe. So now what I'm going to do is I've got a new sitemap. So I'm going to export the sitemap. I'm going to copy this. And let's go back to our sheet over here. Where were we? Okay, the control center. All right, so this task G was the one that didn't work. This is our new sitemap. I am going to, if you look at the webscraper.io tutorial, you can see how this works. But I'm going to convert this sitemap to Sheets Genie kind of code. And as y'all see now, what has changed here is that the selectors are now different, right? Because here we were using H2A, and now we're using our new selectors. We're going to use the same kind of logic here for the sheet, because we want it to go to the same sheet. We're going to have it scroll down as well. And I'll just include this information as well, all right? Boom, boom. All right, so now, here we go. Let's test this out. We're going to do task N now, all right? So let's do that. And run it. And ideally, if we've done our job well, we have fixed the automation. So it's going to do the same scroll as before, target the elements, and then we're going to see what the results are in just 1 second. Here we go. Oh, you know what? I didn't put a max. Oh, guys, you know what? This is going to go until the end of time because look, I didn't put a max scroll on it, right? Before I'd only put a max scroll of 2. This way, if I don't put the max on here, this will go and it will keep doing it until it finds all the elements, which it just did. Just FYI, that's why I was running a little longer than the other one. So now, let's go back to our Facebook groups page where we put the data. And you see, this is the one we did before that didn't work. And then boom, now it works, okay? And as you can see, it goes all the way down. It collected all the groups. So that's another trick. If you guys want to collect all the groups, that's what you do. All right, guys. Well, that is it. So moving forward, just you know, what I'm going to try to do in the recipes is I'm going to try to include this documentation here. Like, for example, I'll update this recipe with our new recipe so that you'll have it there. But if this ever happens again, hopefully now you will understand how to take care of it yourself and maybe even share the fix with the group if you come across the errors. All right, thanks guys. I'll see you later.